The four drives of humans presented in this book are the drive to acquire, the drive to bond, the drive to learn, and the drive to defend. Now, the drive to acquire, that signifies you wanting something and going to get it. So, for instance, in my, in my view, my drive to get a new book, or someone else's drive to get a job, someone else's drive to get a car, and things like that. So, the drive to acquire. Now, do I think the drive to acquire is do I think everyone has it? Basically, is what I'm implying. And I feel like yes, everybody has a want and a need that they feel like they need. And this want, the thing about it is, the dark side to it, as I mentioned, this book is the want never gets fulfilled. So that's why we always want more and want more. Like even though I've read all the books that I've pretty much wanted to read and I know everything I want to know, but I still I still don't I still don't feel like I've done enough. Even though, well I know I've done enough, but I kinda just want more. Basically is what I'm signifying. I'm pretty much just a regular homo sapien here. And next, the the drive to bond, which again everyone has it. Everyone wants a friend. And the dark side that they mentioned to this was genocide, which is pretty much the opposite of wanting to bond. It's not wanting to bond and just killing people, killing. And that's pretty much it's happened a lot throughout history. It's pretty much nothing new. And the third one that I mentioned is the drive to learn, and this is kind of go mixes in with the drive to acquire. In my case, because I want to acquire knowledge and I want to learn more about the world and the brain. I love learning about the brain. So the drive to learn. This one, it's pretty much in my life always. I always have a drive to learn, and I really do enjoy it. I really do enjoy learning a lot. And the dark side to learning is you can learn the wrong things and get inside these indoctrinations which may actually harm you. Now beliefs in themselves don't harm you, but when you act on those beliefs. So say you think, this is just, purely fictional, but if someone were to jump out of a five-story building and they think, hey, I'm not gonna die. Or for instance, if someone was in a war and they try and pop out, and by pop out I mean they get from behind the cover and they're in the open ground and they think that God's with me, I'm not gonna die. Like the belief in and of itself isn't bad, but just because it's not, it's not necessarily, God really isn't gonna help you in that situation. They could still die. So that's kind of the bad side with learning is you could just learn the wrong things and believe the wrong things. So next, or lastly, I should say, is the drive to defend. And this, pretty much is. I feel like a lot of people defend themselves. Like for instance, in regular conversations, people they get pretty defensive in some situations. I'm not sure if I do. I haven't really been in much conversations lately, so I wouldn't know. But you can assess yourself on that. And the bad side to this is if you over defend, and over defending is pretty much conquering, which goes with acquiring, and that is war. And that's what happens when, again, you over defend. You pretty much defend to other provinces, and you try to defend your land, even though, you know, you're pretty much in Italy and everyone else is in Germania. So, you know, wars happen just for a lot of other reasons too. But the need to defend. And one thing that this book brought up wonderfully, and I love it for it, is why is everyone so diverse if we're all the same at the core? And this is a question that I've had for I don't want to say the longest, but for the past few months with reading about the brain. Like I'm thinking, there's no difference for me here and a guy in China. Otherwise, of course, he may have a higher IQ than me, as you know, we pretty much know, or a guy in Japan. He may have a higher IQ than me. You know, I probably have a little bit higher standard of living, but there's really no difference between pretty much our bodies in general. Obviously, there's some difference with the color, the hair quality. I don't want to say quality, 'cause I'm pretty sure no hair is good quality, but hair and things of that nature. So what they said was simply the reason that we're so just diversified and why we're so apart from each other is because of different cultures. And within those cultures, everyone's just different. So that was kind of not good representation. So we can put it into, you know, quote unquote right brain stuff. And I don't believe right brain, left brain, but we could talk about it for now, cause that's the way I'm thinking right now. So basically, think about a tribe, and then think about another tribe. And one tribe is white; they believe in God. I'm pretty much just naming America. They're white, they believe in God, and the next one is black, and they believe in some random king, or not king, some random god. And then they meet each other, and they eat like different foods. They're different everything. So they think, because they don't know about human nature and things, so they think, wow, these people are so different from me. Why would I be friends with them? Like, and that's pretty much why. That pretty much is how it happened. Everyone thinks that they're so different from each other, so they think, why would we be friends? And that's really how everything happened. How everyone came to be so diversified. Also, again with the four drives of nature, with the war, that also, messes everything up again, or makes it better, depending on your opinion. So now we can talk about, is this book true? And personally, I've read another book similar to this called The Brain and the Inner World, or The Brain and the Inner Mind, sorry. And they talked about the four different natures, but the ones that they mentioned were, three of them out of the four were negative. And in these ones, kind of all of them were positive in a sense, except they had their drawbacks. So simply because, well, no, because I'm really thinking, are humans more positive or are they more negative? In my opinion, I feel like I'm a more kind of a positive person, but I know not everyone is like that. So for human nature as a whole, for human nature as a whole, we're gonna say that this book is false. We're gonna say that this book is false, simply because I don't know humans. I know they try to do their best, but I just know, like with Thomas Hobbes and the Leviathan, and I haven't read this book yet, but it's on my next to read. I'll probably actually read it today. I'll know with that book that humanity without a government would just become crazy. I don't want to say become crazy because, they'll do what they can to fight for their lives, but that's what I'm saying. They'll do what they can to fight for their lives. And, it's not a positive scene. It's a pretty bad scene. So I'm going to go with this book is false. The Brain and the Inner Mind is correct. Simply because, humans are just pretty much without, these otherworldly things. Like without these electronics, I'm pretty sure everyone would go crazy. Maybe even me. In times of famine, who knows what I would do? Who knows what you would do in time of famine? So, it's pretty. Humans are pretty negative when you think about it. But right now, I would say we're doing fine. I would say we're doing just fine right now. So, it's a pretty bad scene. It was, and it might be. Again, who knows? But until then, this was Driven.